Kratz, and we're being joined by Stephen Nesbitt from The Athletic, who does a lot of different assignments for the publication. Stephen, great to have you on. Love your work for a long time now. How you doing? And how's your baseball season going?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Good to see a couple of guys, at least Eric, who I covered for his 2016 stint with the Pirates. He had one homer, 1-0 ball game off Madison Bumgarner. Jeff Locke takes the W, Madison Bumgarner the L. I was on hand to chronicle that one. That was special.
Facts. And
Wow.
I actually had a dream that I was going to hit that home run, but it was back in the 2014 World Series before Game 7. I dreamt that I was going to hit a home run off of Madison Bumgarner, probably because the whole day before we're like, all right, we're going to win this game. We're going to face Bumgarner. The next time I faced him was 2016. Dinger, Angel Pagan went in his glove, went over the fence, and the ball dropped out of his glove.
That's awesome.
What a day. Yeah.
That is. Hey, Stephen, enterprise/features role. Talk to me about what you're doing with that. And I know you work with the Pirates, so we'll get into the Pirates here shortly. I'm curious what that role means.
Sure, yeah. Hit me with whatever you want. So I covered the Pirates from 15 to 17 full-time, so traveling full-time and all that. And then I moved into this back at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette newspaper, moved into an enterprise role, which really just means you write long-form stuff. So instead of writing every day, 3 stories, you're writing one story every other week or every 3 weeks, and it's bigger, longer, more reporting done and something with more depth to it. So that's really my forte. It always has been, and so that's what I've been doing since then, but moved over to The Athletic a couple years later, and then and now I'm a MLB writer for The Athletic, but mostly I do mostly long form features.
Nice. I want to dive into the Pirates here a little bit.
Sure.
Ke'Bryan Hayes yesterday, man. He, you know what? I've been there before. I was frustrated after one game. I said some things about an umpire, and I was actually right, but at the same time, obviously, you know that. And he said some things. I mean, everybody can see it, how bad that call was. I'm glad he said something. I wish he didn't go to social media. I wish he would have just said it in like a, right after the game to a media person, so on TV everybody could see it as well. But what's your take on that? Is there frustration, or is it just something that these ball players are getting sick of right now?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much a widespread thing, because if you talk to or you look at any Jason Stark story, players generally don't want anything more than a challenge system. ABS full time is not like totally ridiculed, but something that guys who played with it at AAA say, I don't really like this system. It doesn't still feel quite right, and maybe they have some tweaking and fine tuning to do. But yeah, in his tweet, Ke'Bryan saying, bring on ABS, and he obviously had an issue, and obviously very, very fairly, with the strike call on him that ended his at-bat last night or yesterday afternoon. And so with that one, the interesting thing to me is Ke'Bryan is a very soft-spoken guy, super nice guy, super polite, and not the one I would have guessed would be coming out the gates firing with a post on social media. But guess he didn't feel like he had his total say, and maybe wanted to put it in his own words rather than say it to a writer afterward. It's gotten a lot of play this morning. So I think it's the way he did it was just fine.
Is this coaching staff that's there right now? Chris Shelton, Don Kelly.
Dude, guys, you just said Chris Shelton, legendary former Tiger.
Yeah,
Derek Shelton.
Derek Shelton. My bad. They are they going to outlast this organization before or after they make the playoffs? Are they going to be there for this playoff run that again is a rebuild, again under Bob Nutting?
Yeah, so this was the coaching staff brought in after Ben Cherington replaced Neil Huntington. Clint Hurdle and his staff kicked out the door along with Huntington, and then they bring in Derek Shelton, who was brought along to be a player's guy, right? I don't say that in any derogatory way, a player's manager, but that's what it was. They said, we're going to be a player-centric organization. We're going to focus on the individual development of players. They had some pretty bad track record of players not having so much success in Pittsburgh and then leaving and having a whole lot of success. And so they said, we need to figure out a way to stop that. And one way we're going to do that and attack that is to have a player-centric manager. And it's worked well. Guys like him a lot. Now, just candidly, when he came in the door, I didn't think he would see the other side of the rebuild. It takes a while, right? And a lot of guys don't see that. I mean, look around the league. Different guys who have gone through some pretty rough seasons, they don't get more than 2 or 3 years often. And so Shelton's still here. They're always pretty coy about his contract situation, but they do that with everybody there. And so I still do think he has a shot to stick around for the long haul, because a lot of what's happened so far is like, how are you going to judge the manager with a roster like they put together last year, the year before that? And so they're starting to have a much more respectable roster today, but still it's not a full rotation. The bullpen has got some real holes in it. The lineup is hit or miss in a big way. And like any injury, O'Neal Cruz being one of them, is going to just knock you into you're using a quad A guy in that spot. So I still think they have a chance to see the other side of this one. But I wouldn't be shocked if, they feel like they have a roster that's ready to hit go, and they want a more of a veteran Bochy type, right? Just like the Rangers decided we need to get that veteran who's done it before, who's won before, who doesn't need to sort of help these guys and hold their hands as they get to reach their potential, but actually be somebody to win ball games and win a lot of them.
Is this farm system ready to be the playoff farm system, or are they just hoping for the Andrew McCutchen to lead this team, the Neil Walker to walk through the door, Pedro Alvarez? Or are they going to actually spend when it's time to spend?
They say they're going to spend when it's time to spend. I'll believe it when I see it. The fact is, as you just alluded to, the only way they're going to get to be a playoff team is if it's homegrown. They are not a team that's going to say, we're like 50% of the way there and we'll buy our way to the finish line. No, this is a team that is not going to go in unless they think they're really, really ready. And that's going to happen because Brian Reynolds is a perennial all-star. It's going to happen because Brian Hayes can do a whole lot more than be a Gold Glove third baseman. He can produce like a corner infielder should be. They find a third baseman. Jack Sawinski learns how to get a little bit better batting average along with the 30 homers he can give you. And then you see these first rounders as they're coming to the majors, and they're coming pretty quickly, right? I mean, Paul Skeens just hit Double-A, but ahead of him, Henry Davis and the like. They need to have him as a capable corner outfielder if he's not going to be a catcher. Andy Rodriguez needs to be a capable everyday catcher. And O'Neal Cruz needs, we don't know what his future holds. Is he going to be a shortstop? Is he going to end up in a corner? Is he the future first baseman? We don't know, but he's certainly got a ton of potential. It all has to start with homegrown talent there, and not even start. It has to get 90% of the way with homegrown talent, and then they'll pull in the Eric Kratz to finish it off.
Ooh.
Wow. I don't know if they can spend like that. See, I don't think they're going to spend like that. Nah.
They can do it.
Nah, they can't afford you, Kratz. Especially now, the way that you speak in your media career, no fucking way.
Kratz will go.
He was always good, though.
He'll go for a bucket of balls and some fungos because he's coaching his team. He'll take that.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll just make a lifetime supply of baseballs for my high school team, and we're good to go.
Yeah, Bob Nutting's not giving you that. No freaking way. Dude loves money. All right, so I'll tie this into the national conversation. We'll get into some other teams here. I'll do it this way. So Ronald Acuña Jr. versus Johan Oviedo. Your thoughts on that little back and forth? And I just want to remind everyone, I love Acuna. He's great for the game. And this kind of back and forth yesterday, and a Braves versus Pirates game where the Pirates are out of it. Atlanta's now actually just clinched a playoff spot. It's actually good juice at this time of year. He's done this against the Marlins for years. I've covered him where any inside pitch or he gets hit, the Marlins yo, that's where we're aiming. And we're trying to go inside on you, dude. That's your spot. And he gets pissed. So your thoughts on that? And the post-game comment from Oviedo was, quote, "You try to throw to the weakest zone that the hitter has, especially him. We're not playing chess."
Yeah, that's right. So I think part of what makes Ronald Acuña great is his ability to take almost anything and make it like it's like someone's taking offense, or he's taking offense at what someone's doing. If you can play mad, play angry, he's even better. Look what this guy's done. I mean, he's going to put together a 40-80 year or something like that. It's just preposterous. I was looking at for the power rankings today. Spoiler alert: Braves still on top. No one's ever batted .320 with, I think it was 30 homers and 60 steals, and he's going to obliterate that. And so he's not just doing something no one's ever done. He's setting his own record every day, basically, when he steps out there. And so he can do whatever he wants, man. That's the honest truth right now. Is Ronald Acuña is in the middle of his MVP season, 2 years coming off the torn ACL. The man can rock a baby if he wants to rock a baby rounding first base, and he can try to steal the next pitch and end up, with another league leading caught stealing. Why not? Who cares? This team's winning and scoring at will. So whatever he wants to do is I think fair game. This guy, without being completely without charging the mound, like your segment earlier, then he's fine. I have no problem with what he's doing. The team is winning. He's backing it up. Johan Oviedo, sure. Yeah, man. The Pirates pitching philosophy, as Kratz knows, always at that time was pitch to contact, get the ball on the ground, 3 pitches or fewer. and we'll get out of this inning. And when you're facing Acuna in the top of that Braves lineup, sure, bust him inside, do whatever you can, but you're probably not going to end up winning that at bat anyway.
Yeah, true. Right. That's not the guy you want to go up against in that front, but also do your thing. Like, go with your game plan. Don't let him, he's not charging the mound. So also, I mean, yeah, we saw the other day when fans charged him, I would have slugged him in the face. Dude actually had pretty good composure and let the security kind of deal with it. Anyway, let's talk about your power rankings for a sec. So you put those out each week for the Athletic. Give us any big time movers and shakers. What stood out to you this week? Like, I'll throw one your way. The Mariners losing 3 of 4 to the Rays kind of changes things a little bit in my mind. Whenever you see those bigger swings, like 3 wins or losses in a row in these wild card races right now, anything else that stood out?
Yeah, it's me writing this, but also Rustin Dodd and Grant Brisbee, two of our other baseball writers, and so we just take the average. What do we say? So these aren't exactly my rankings. Like I had slightly different individual ranking than what turns out, but yeah, we had the Mariners obviously had that tough series. The Rays, it's like, well, how do you figure this team right now? They're so shorthanded. They're ranked 4th right now for us. So shorthanded. So many things have gone wrong, but they still have enough firepower to do damage here. The AL West situation, the Astros, you believe in them. The Rangers suddenly have like really fallen out of favor with a lot of people. The run differential looks great, but the record right now is fading. The Mariners still, you still believe in that team. You're talking about George Kirby earlier, that rotation, what they have going there. The lineup seems like it's figured it out. The bullpen, even without Paul Sewald, I think is a playoff caliber bullpen. Sorry. And so that was a big one. Let me see if any other big jumps. Diamondbacks jumped a little bit. They're still right in the thick of the wild card race. And it's funny because Grant Brisbee, big Giants guy, right? He's covered the Giants for years and years, and he had the Giants a lot higher than I did. They ended up dropping, I think, 2 spots from 12 to 14, and they're hanging on, man. They're hanging on to that in that race, but I feel like the whole midfield here, to use like an F1 term, is just kind of a mess. Once you get past like the top 10 teams, it's like, sure, they could all make the playoffs, but are they going to go anywhere? I wouldn't bet on it.
Is that a crispy? Is that a spicy topic when you guys are making these power rankings together? Are you guys arguing it out, or is it pretty much you guys are all in lockstep and you guys don't even like contradict each other too much?
So I could make something up, but the honest truth is it's like a Excel spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc, and we plug in our 1 through 30, and then we make the average and see where it comes out. And so, like, if there's anything absurd, we're like, hey man, I think you may have missed like the last week of games. Check that Diamondbacks rank again. Then we might do that. But it's really just like an average of the 3 of our individual rankings. This used to be we'd have every writer and editor in the baseball vertical at the Athletic put in their individual ones, and it would be the average of all like 30 or so people. And then we decided that just didn't need to happen. Like trying to track down Jason Stark and Ken Rosenthal on a Sunday night, be like, can you get your ranks in, Ken? Just didn't need to happen. So we just do an average of 3 now.
Good move. Okay. I loved your move to put together the article on The Athletic about players and the stats they care about. So it's a player hosted show here, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dudes that aren't on today that would appreciate this too. Can you give us a little context and anything that, these guys would appreciate and can bounce around?
Yeah, for sure. I came to the right place so they can tell me how wrong I am. So this was an idea I had when I was on paternity leave 2 years ago with our first, and I just jotted down a whole bunch of ideas, and I've been slowly ticking them off. And this one was one inspired by 10 years of service time, which, as the listener probably knows, but maybe doesn't, is when you get full pension. And you could get 10 and 5 rights at the same time, but all depends. But that was when I was like, man, the average fan does not understand this, but I've seen it. I've seen the occasion marked in the clubhouse. I know how big of a deal it is for guys. And the whole service time system, the average fan does not understand. So I said, what if I go around? There's got to be other stuff, and just ask as many guys as I can, former Pirates guys I covered or whatever. So I hit up Tony Watson, Jared Hughes, Chris Stewart, a bunch of these former guys, and Jeff Lockwood, I mentioned him earlier. He's up in North Conway, right near me in New Hampshire, and reach out to many guys I can. Like, what's something that the average fan just doesn't get, but it means something to players? And so I talked to 20 guys down at Fenway, over the phone, whatever, and just tried to tally a list that I thought made a pretty solid list of things that the average fan I didn't think would get. And so that was one of them. 8 years of service time was a big one. I think Todd's across that one with the gold card. I could do a whole story on the gold card, because people have no clue and think it's the coolest thing ever.
It is. Mm-hmm. I get to show that thing off anytime I want to. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
You get gold card. It's basically if you get 8 years of service time, you get a gold card. You're supposed to call up the stadium, and you get 2 free tickets. And supposedly it's the best seats, but sometimes they're like, hey, you got to go up top. That's when you call the you call the people there.
Make a different call.
But it is cool to have. Nobody can take that away from you. Yep.
Look at Kratzy. That's the face of a guy who doesn't have a gold card. That's tough.
Oh no.
Don't have it. Don't have
Sorry, buddy.
it. But
You gotta pay.
I did read. This will probably be the last time I do it. I did read this article this weekend, not even knowing you were coming on. Awesome article. Any article that starts with Chris Stewart in it, I'm going to read the rest of the article. Like, Chris Stewart is an absolute legend in the game, and like kind of you chronicling him trying to make it to that. What was the most fun or the most like amazing? Like, wow, I'm surprised that they really care about that thing that the 20 players brought up.
Yeah, I mean, the gold card was one because I called up Chris, and he's living his best life out in California. He's like a youth pastor. He worked at a church. He's loving his life with his kids, and he, I rolled through some of the easy ones, and he had some. The gold card was something he was like, listen, man, I was actually like low key very passionate about this. I never got there. Tried for 2 years to get there, and decided like it's just not worth it. Once I ended up getting cut short of it. He ended up being a month away. I think, Todd, you're like, what, 3/4 of a season away or something, or maybe 2/3, not even that far, of 10 years.
He's guy's on the ball,
he
man.
Is on it.
I looked it up.
It's like 90 something days. I think you're right, bro. I'm still a little bitter about it. Over 11-year span, I couldn't get it.
Yeah. So that was one, but then I got into a bunch of interesting conversations, man. It's especially when you walk up to guys you haven't talked to in a long time or haven't talked to ever, and you pitch them, you're just trying to get their attention in like the first 3 seconds, or else they're going to be like done with you. And every single guy I walked up to was like, yeah, oh, there's something that's on my mind, whether that's 10 years, that like Nick Pivetta wants to talk about that. He's not there yet. Would love to get there. That's a career goal. You talk to part-time players, and they're like, hey, listen, here's something I look at, because I can't look at number of homers I want to hit, number of hits I want to get. I got to look at maybe rate stats. I want to hit 250 this year. I want to hit 300 this year. I want to provide this much, defensive value. But one that jumped out to me, to answer your question, Eric, was 100 strikeouts for a reliever. Was never something I thought of as a fan. I included 200 innings as a starter in this story. That's probably a more obvious one, because that is a big number and it's much, much less common these days. But 100 strikeouts for a reliever, I never would have thought of. I think of saves. I think of, ERA for relievers. Sure, all that stuff, all-star, sure. But 100 strikeouts was an interesting one. I was talking to Trevor Rosenthal about that one. And we're talking to him actually for a 2-time Tommy John story that we're talking about, Shohei Ohtani. And I said, by the way, what's a number that matters to you? And he said 100 strikeouts was actually a big one for him. I think 2013 he got it with the Cardinals. And it's not like one guy every year gets it. It might be a couple. Especially in this day and age with the stuff that's out there. But yeah, that was an interesting one to me, was that guys really want to get across that plateau.
I don't have my gold card. I don't have my 10 years of service like Todd, but I do have my 10 years of service in the minor leagues. Let's go.
Let's go. Hit that, and got all the perks to it. Okay. He can go to any freaking minor league ballpark.
Yeah, walk into any minor league park.
Hell yeah. Steven, it was great to have you, man. Appreciate the time, all right?
Rutgers plays Michigan in 2 weeks. Let's go RU, baby.